You're listening to an audio recording of an article written by Alison Richards, the food safety girl, originally published in the Jamaica Observer. The title of this article is What's Lurking in the Rice Bag? This article explores the hidden health risks of arsenic and cadmium contamination in rice, one of Jamaica's most consumed staple foods, highlighting the implications for public health, the country's import dependency, and what consumers can do to reduce exposure. A new international report has raised alarms over the safety of one of the world's most consumed staple foods, rice, revealing that many popular brands sold in the United States contain dangerously high levels of arsenic and cadmium, two heavy metals linked to a range of serious health problems. With rice forming a central part of the Jamaican diet, the findings present troubling implications for local consumption patterns and public health. Hidden dangers in a trusted staple. Heavy metals like arsenic and cadmium are naturally present in the environment, but their accumulation in food, especially rice, has become a significant public health concern. Inorganic arsenic, the most toxic form, is a known carcinogen and has been associated with developmental delays, cardiovascular disease, reproductive issues, and neurological disorders. Cadmium, another dangerous contaminant, is linked to kidney damage, bone weakening, and lung disease. These risks are especially serious for infants, toddlers, and pregnant women, as the toxins can impair fetal development and brain function in early childhood. Alarmingly, many of the rice products tested in the report exceeded the U.S. Food and Drug Administration's recommended limits for arsenic in infant cereal, despite being marketed to or commonly consumed by families. Rice in the Jamaican diet, a cultural and economic cornerstone. In Jamaica, rice is not just another side dish. It is a daily dietary cornerstone woven deeply into culinary tradition and social life. A large portion of the population consumes rice at least once a day, often in generous quantities. From Sunday dinners to weekday lunches, rice accompanies curried chicken, stewed beef, oxtail, and fried chicken or fish. Perhaps nowhere is rice more visible than in the ubiquitous Jamaican boxed lunch, a staple of food shops and corner vendors across the island. These meals, often prepared affordably and served in generous portions, rely heavily on rice as a filler and energy source. In many boxed lunches, rice may account for over half of the meal's volume, with a scoop of meat and a bit of vegetables rounding out the dish. This high frequency and volume of consumption means that any contamination in rice has direct and repeated exposure consequences for the Jamaican population, especially those from lower income households who depend more heavily on affordable rice-based meals. Jamaica's rice import dependency. According to the Observatory of Economic Complexity, Jamaica imports its rice primarily from Guyana and Suriname. In 2023, these two countries accounted for a large portion of Jamaica's rice imports, with Guyana contributing $26.6 million and Suriname $19.3 million. Other significant sources included the United States and Thailand. Jamaica's total rice imports in 2023 were valued at $55.5 million. However, some of these rice-producing countries were also highlighted in the report as sources of rice with elevated levels of arsenic and cadmium. For example, brown rice from the US and arborio rice from Italy showed some of the highest levels of total heavy metals. Conversely, rice from Thailand and California had lower contamination levels, but these varieties are not always clearly labeled or consistently available in Jamaican markets. This lack of transparency in sourcing, combined with the limited availability of alternatives, makes it difficult for Jamaican consumers to make informed decisions about rice safety. Packaging often omits key details such as the country of origin or the rice variety, which are crucial factors in determining contamination risk. Health risks and vulnerable populations. Repeated exposure to small amounts of arsenic and cadmium can have a cumulative effect on the body. In Jamaica, where rice is consumed from infancy to old age, this poses a long-term health risk. Children are particularly vulnerable. Research has shown that exposure to arsenic early in life is associated with reduced IQ, attention disorders, and an increased risk of chronic diseases later in life. Pregnant women who consume contaminated rice may unknowingly expose their unborn children to these toxins, which can cross the placental barrier and interfere with fetal growth and brain development. Compounding this risk is the relatively low awareness among Jamaican consumers about the presence of heavy metals in rice and the long-term dangers they pose. Public health messaging has not yet caught up with the science, and many people remain unaware that rice, a food often considered safe and wholesome, can be a significant source of toxic exposure. What can Jamaican consumers do? Despite the troubling findings, there are practical steps that consumers in Jamaica and worldwide can take to reduce their exposure to arsenic and cadmium in rice. Cook rice in excess water, similar to pasta. Use 6 to 10 cups of water per cup of rice and drain the excess water after cooking. This method has been shown to remove up to 60% of arsenic content. Soak rice overnight before cooking. This further reduces arsenic levels, although it also lowers the nutrient content. Diversify grains. Where accessible and affordable, switch to alternative grains like quinoa, millet, barley, or couscous, which typically contain fewer heavy metals. Choose rice with known origins. If possible, opt for rice labeled as being grown in California or Thailand, which were found to have lower contamination levels. Add iron-rich foods. As rice cooked in excess water may lose iron, balance the diet with iron-rich foods like beans, eggs, leafy greens, and lean meats. A call for policy change. Given the public health implications, there is growing urgency for government regulators and importers in Jamaica to strengthen monitoring of heavy metal levels in rice. The lack of clear labeling regarding the country of origin and rice variety must be addressed to help consumers make safer choices. Public health campaigns can also help educate families, particularly those with young children, about the potential risks and safer cooking methods. Schools, clinics, and food assistance programs could play a vital role in spreading awareness. With the health of current and future generations at stake, now is the time to take a closer look at what's in the pot. As Jamaica continues to rely heavily on imported rice to feed its population, ensuring its safety should be a national priority. To learn more about food safety in Jamaica, follow the Food Safety Girl on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, LinkedIn, and YouTube.